What is going on, everyone? Miko here with Behavior Analyst Supervisor. Wanted to come at you and talk a little bit about some of my top test taking tips. Now, we know this is obviously a very difficult exam. 55% first time test taker pass rate, 22% multiple test timer pass rate. Now, we don't want those pass rates to scare you. We want to give you the tips and tools needed to get it one and done or two and done, two and through, I should say, three and complete. That doesn't even rhyme, but you know what I mean. Whatever exam you're on, you are more than a pass or a fail. We want to help equip you with the tools needed to succeed at whatever attempt you're on. So let's do it. Let's first talk about how you should approach the question. When approaching the questions, that is maybe the most difficult part. A few things that I want to put into perspective. Number one, this test is not vocabulary-based test. This is an applied knowledge scenario-focused exam. You need to know the concepts in an applied fashion. I tell people all the time, I'm not a big fan of flashcards. I'm not a big fan of SAFMEDs. Does that mean you shouldn't do it? Well, no, you certainly have to know your definitions. You certainly have to know what the concepts are. But in order to be successful in the test, you really need to know what they are in an applied fashion. What I mean by that, the exam questions, usually 3 to 5 sentences long. We'll go through some practice here in a second. Within those 3 to 5 sentences, there's going to be usually 1 to 2 individuals. There's also going to be multiple concepts. You need to be able to filter through the question in order to determine what the question's asking, what concept is present, and what that concept looks like in relation to the scenario. So we do recommend starting with the last sentence first. Reading the last sentence first will allow you to understand what the question's asking, So let's go ahead and practice. All right, here we have it. I'll read the question. Finn loves eating donuts. He has one each Saturday. When he went to the donut shop this weekend, they were all out of his favorite, Boston cream. He smiled and ordered an apple fritter. Finn has since chosen to go to the other donut shop to get donuts and has never returned to the local shop. In relation to his donut ordering behavior, this scenario seems to function as A, positive reinforcement, B, negative reinforcement, C, positive punishment, or D, negative punishment. Employing our test taking tips, let's look at the last sentence first. The last sentence says, in relation to his donut ordering behavior, this scenario seems to function as. So all we're worried about in this scenario is donut ordering. So let's go back up. Does his donut ordering, since I know it's reinforcement punishment, does his donut ordering behavior increase or decrease? Take it in small bits. That's another tip. Don't worry about trying to figure everything out at once. Don't worry about going straight to positive reinforcement, positive punishment, negative punishment. Let's worry about, is it reinforcement or punishment? That'll employ the old who wants to be a millionaire 50-50 technique. So when I look at this, I see when he went to the donut shop this weekend, they were all out of his favorite Boston cream. He smiled and ordered an apple fritter. The donut ordering behavior increased. The donut ordering behavior increased or maintained, however you want to look at it. So I know that the answer has to be A or B. It's not punishment. Yes, he did not get a Boston cream. That's okay. And that's not what this question is talking about. This question is talking about donut ordering behavior, not Boston cream receiving behavior, donut ordering behavior. So in relation to his donut ordering behavior, that continued, making this reinforcement. From there, was something added or removed? Well, they obviously had apple fritters. They were out of Boston cream, but they had apple fritters. So he ordered an apple fritter. He gets the apple fritter. That tells us this is positive reinforcement. That makes positive reinforcement the best answer here. Now, as you're going through each answer choice, another major test taking tip, we like to call it the yes, no, maybe strategy. Yes, A is the answer because, no, A is not the answer because, or maybe A is the answer because. Many people I work with can get it down to 2 answers, and then we really struggle picking the correct one from there. Using this yes, no, maybe strategy is really going to help with that second guessing yourself. If you tend to be a multiple time test taker, I know that this test is just as much knowledge as it is confidence. And when you have taken the test more than once, you might start to see the same questions come up, or you might have a higher tendency to second guess yourself. You're going to say, oh, I think it's this, but maybe I should pick this. and maybe I should pick that. So you're moving back and forth. I don't want you to do that. What I want you to do is I want you to confidently move through each answer choice, provide an explanation. That explanation should boost your confidence. And then, as I like to say, pick it and stick it. So if I were to say this definitely is positive reinforcement, ordering increased, he received the apple fritter, fits it. So I would say yes, A works. I still want to go through the other ones. Negative reinforcement. Well, the behavior increased, so I know it's reinforcement. Was something removed? Negative reinforcement is classified as escape or avoidance of the aversive stimulus. Well, nothing was removed here. Sure, he didn't get a Boston cream, but that's not what the question's asking. Always go back to what is the question asking and only worry about what the question's asking. And then clearly it's not punishment. We've already eliminated those, so I can go ahead and get rid of those as my choices. All right, so now that we've dissected a question, you understand kind of where to look at the situation. You understand to take the answer, bring it back up into the question. You understand to make sure you're answering the question being asked. Now I want to talk about another big one. This one is assume versus implication. Assume versus implication. We sometimes get feedback that you have to assume things in order to get questions right. And that's not true. You have to imply, certainly, but you don't have to assume. On this test, you are approaching every question as if you were an ethical analyst unless the question says otherwise. What that means is, for example, say I have a scenario where I have a staff member that I'm putting onto the case. I can assume, unless, or let me take that back. We both know what assuming does. It makes a out of you and me. So instead of assuming, let's imply. You're going to imply that you are an ethical analyst unless the question says otherwise. What that means is you would have trained that individual before you put them on the case. If the question says you haven't trained them, then clearly we need to go back, we need to do BST. But if they've said, you're working with Johnny, you place Johnny on the case, Johnny is not implementing the token system appropriately, then they give you the options. The correct answer is not to retrain Johnny. The correct answer is not to use BST with Johnny. Instead, especially for these section I questions, treat them just like section H. So what you would do with the client is exactly what you should do with a staff member. So what you're going to do is you're going to find the why. Let's find the function. Why is Johnny not implementing the token system appropriately? I can do direct observation, take some ABC data. You're probably not going to do an FA, but theoretically you could. You might do an interview. I'm not going to ask him why, but I might understand the contingencies governing the behavior or the situation surrounding the behavior, because that will allow me to make a hypothesis as to what the function is. After I've made my hypothesis, I think Johnny's not doing it because he has a lack of resources. Tokens are too far away. We don't have enough positive reinforcers for the client, so it hasn't been effective. Now I'm going to go in and take this function-based approach and try to mitigate this in order to make it easier for Johnny to implement the token system. Whatever the function is, my intervention should match it. Those are the two things that I wanted to talk about today. If you have other questions, you can always reach out to us, info@behavioranalystsupervisor.com. We have some cool things coming down the line. We'll be dropping a video like this weekly. If you want videos on specific content, please go ahead and hit the like button. As the kids say, smash the like button. You could go down, add in the comments what you want the concepts or the material to cover. We're happy to do what you need in order to help you be successful on this test. If you've made it this far, feel free to use the code capital G, lowercase o, capital BAS, go BAS 2024 for 10% off any of our materials. All right, y'all. Miko signing off.